Foster Holcombe at the Art of Fire. This is our first YouTube live, trying it out, see how it all works. Foster has his first gather of clear glass, and he's using a tool that's called a block to cool and shape it. It has the consistency of honey or treacle, so he blows into the pipe, and you'll just start to see that bubble come out. There we go. That's the fun part. Seeing that initial bubble just come out of the pipe into that hot glass, pretty amazing. Now he's using a wood, and all of our wood tools are kept in water, and that just keeps them from burning. So here's the glass furnace. There's a and he just goes in, it's like a big bathtub, and he just dips the end of that pipe in there and turns, and it wraps that molten glass. Now we never get all the glass we need in one single gather, so we have to get multiple gathers, and that's how we can make larger and larger pieces. That larger size block shapes and cools it. Transfer a little bit easier later. So it's just a constriction. A little bit more air expands that bubble. Now Foster's been making glass, what, about 35 years, Foster?
Yeah, come on,
40 years. Now this furnace is used to reheat the glass. There's no glass inside there. It's just heated to around 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. As we work a piece, it cools, so we always need to go back to that furnace to reheat the glass. And this is just clear glass. Even though it looks like it's glowing orange, that's due to the intense heat. Same way that metal glows when it heats up, so does glass. And that's what you're seeing, that orange color. What are we going to be making, Foster?
We're making a cognac glass for a client of ours.
So this tool is called the paper pegs or parchofis. Now that he has the right shape and size, he's using those to cool the glass. You can also start to see that crystal clear color now that the glass is starting to cool. And when we say cool, we're saying about 11 or 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's relatively cool. All right, so now that we have the shape, he's gonna get a little bit more glass from the furnace, and he'll use that glass to make a stem for the cognac glass. So this is the traditional way of making stemware. So making parts and joining them together. So he's separating that glass from the pipe. And he'll drop that clear glass right to the bottom. And just those metal shears cut right through, separates it from the pipe. Using those jacks to make the stem for the cognac glass. It's also called an evolio because it's the shorter stem. And that's also going to give a spot where he can place the foot. You can see we have a limited amount of time to work the glass before Foster needs to return to that furnace. Once again, since he has the right shape and size for the stem or a folio, he's using those paper pegs to cool it. Now you won't be able to set down your cognac glass, or maybe you don't, but we do. So we're actually going to add a foot to this stem. Once again, he'll apply that clear glass to the base of the stem. Now these are 2 wood paddles on a hinge, and it's a really neat tool. It allows him to squeeze and flatten that foot. Now that he has the diameter, he'll use this carbon paddle. This is to shape it and get the proper profile. All right, so now that we have the foot completed, you want to be able to drink out of your cup or cognac glass. So now Foster is getting a small bit of glass in what's called a punty. Now that punty gets its name from the French word for bridge, because now we're going to bridge the cognac glass to another metal pipe so that he can finish or open the valve. And that's one of the ways you can tell if a piece is handmade. If it has that mark from where the punty was attached to the bottom. So Foster attaches that punty, just a small drop of water and a light tap, and it separates from the pipe. So now that top was hot enough to break, or excuse me, cold enough to break. So he's focusing the heat of that furnace or glory hole on just the top or rim of that cup. However, every once in a while you'll see him place it all the way in. And that's to bring some heat to that punty. That punty is only a small bit of glass, and if that bit of glass were to get too cold, the cognac glass could come off before he was finished. So he really needs to keep just enough heat in that bottom so it doesn't crack or come off. Now this tool is called a steam stick. The water heats up, turns to steam, which then inflates the top of the glass. You can actually see that top growing or rounding out. You can actually hear the steam being released when he took the steam stick out. Just using that carbon paddle to straighten the foot. Sometimes it gets a little off, so he just uses that paddle to flatten it. So he has the movement in the top. He's pressing down with the jacks as he turns, and that causes that mouth to widen. There you can see a little bit of wax actually kind of flaming up from being heated. We use the wax on the jacks so the metal slides on the glass. Another use of that steam stick, you can really see it starting to get that cognac glass shape. Kind of rounds out the top there. Another pair of jacks just rounds the mouth as well. Nice.
I'm going to open up that mouth just a little bit more.
Just some last finishing touches to widen that mouth. Very nice. Whoops. Excellent. Okay, so Foster is now going to cool that junction of the punty with a cold piece of metal, a butter knife. So he's kind of just chipping at it a little bit to cool it. We want that to be the weakest spot, so when he taps it with the hammer handle, the vibration travels down and breaks right at that punty junction. Puts on an insulated glove, and it goes into one of the ovens at the back of the studio. And that sits there all day at 900 degrees. And at the end of the day, the glass is cooled very slowly overnight. All right, well, thank you, Foster. Thanks for our inaugural Facebook post.
Thank you very much. Excellent.
Awesome.